Adiantum. Adiantum is a fern that is very common in landscape gardening as an indoor fern. This walking fern is a very slow grower and requires very specific condition for its growth. Hello friends, I am Mayantika, and in this video I am going to discuss about Adiantum species which is in the MSc and BSc syllabus of botany. And the lecture will be in two parts, where in the first part I will be discussing about an overview of Adiantum, morphology, anatomy, fossil record, economic and ecological importance. And in the second part of the video I will be discussing about the reproduction and life cycle of Adiantum. Overview of Adiantum. First, we are going to deal with the taxonomic position. It belongs to division Polypodiophyta, which means that it will include the ferns and the horsetails, and then class Polypodiopsida, that includes the true ferns. True ferns, they differ from whisk fern, that is Xylotum, by having megaphyllous leaves and having adventitious roots. Polypodiales, order Polypodiales, includes those ferns where the sporangia has a vertical annulus that is interrupted by a stromium. So all these Polypodiales, apart from this type of sporangia, they also have a false indusia. That is, they do not have a true indusia. The leaf fold to form a false indusia. And all the sporangia, they do not develop, they do not mature simultaneously. They do it in a successive order. So this is the characteristic of all Polypodiales order. Then they belong to family Pteridaceae. Now all the fern belonging to Pteridaceae, they have, in addition to the creeping habit, they also have a erect or semi-erect habit of rhizome. And the compoundedly pinnate leaves, they have a linear sori on their margin. The sori is arranged along the margin of the leaves, not on in rows along the pinna. As because the venation, it's a fan-shaped venation, and sori are present where the veins end. And also all these Pteridaceae ferns, they have a false indusia, that is, true indusia is absent here. So Adiantum goes by the common name of maiden fern or walking fern. Maiden hair fern, because you see it looks like the hair decorations in ladies. Also it is called walking fern. Now this is very important. Leaf, the compound leaves of, here we see this compound leaf of fern of this Adiantum, where the tip of the leaf, they bear a vegetative bud. This vegetative bud, when gets in contact with soil, it gives rise to a new plant. So that is why it is also called walking fern. Now, apart from Adiantum, many other ferns, especially some species of Asplenium, they also have this type of characteristic. So, this walking fern is Adiantum shares the name of walking fern with Asplenium as well. The habit of Adiantum. Now, Adiantum, apart from a creeping habit, it is also having a semi-erect or erect habit, but it is a very slow grower and it prefers indoor condition, which means that low sunlight and high humidity. However, the conditions under these conditions, that is high humidity, low sunlight, it is evergreen. But mostly in other conditions, that is high sunlight and low humidity, that is mostly prevalent. So there it is deciduous. Most of the time, most of the species of Adiantum is deciduous, but few species, for example venustum, they are found to be growing in evergreen condition. Evergreen condition occur only in few species, and also when the condition is cold and moist with low amount of sunlight. Adiantum, its habitat is, it prefers high humus soil, high mineral soil, but the soil should be well drained. Why? Because if the soil is not well drained, then Adiantum, it suffers from various fungal infection, especially botrytis, which is very common in Adiantum growing under greenhouse condition or nursery condition, where it gets a high amount of frequent amount of frequent amount of watering by the nursery growers. And globally, it is mostly found in the tropical rainforest region. Especially, it is very various species and many endemic species are found in the Andes region and also in the islands of South and Southeast Asia. So total 250 species. In India we have only 26 species, and where I stay, that is in Gujarat, here we see only Adiantum philippense and Adiantum venustum. If you belong to India, do write in the comment section which are the species of Adiantum that you have found in your locality. Write it in the comment section and let the viewers know about the distribution in India. So these are the Indian species of Adiantum, and globally it is found throughout all the continent except Antarctica. We see that it is found very commonly in North America, in southern part of America, in Eurasia, in Asia, in Africa. Also, it is very much found in the southern hemisphere also, that is New Zealand, Australia. So it is found here also. So we see that it is cosmopolitan in distribution. However, there are also many endangered species. This is because of the fact that in Adiantum we see many of the species are endemic, and the main problem with endemic species is that now due to anthropogenic changes, they are suffering from habitat loss. So for example, if there is a land use pattern change from forested area or a naturally vegetated area to an agricultural area, then there will be habitat loss. Also in Adiantum, we find many polyploid hybrids that become sterile. They are only propagated clonally, but generally they are sterile when we see them to be in sexual reproduction. They are not viable, so they are only propagated by clonal propagation. So that is also one of the reason, polyploidian hybridization, that has endangered many of the species. So about the external structure, so the plant body is divided into a rhizomatous stem and root and leaf. So the rhizomatous stem, it has got nodes and internodes, and entire rhizome is covered by very hard scales called petula, and this Palia, it is the scale which is palia, it is either lanceolate in shape or ovate in shape, and this palia has got a short stalk and a body which can be lanceolate or ovate, but it is multicellular but uniseriate, that is single layer of cells. So this uniseriate multicellular palia, it is it covers the entire surface of the rhizome, and the margin, about the margin can be smooth margin or dentate margin depending upon the species. So this rhizome in Adiantum can be horizontal or erect or semi-erect depending upon the species. And if it is an erect species, then it is very hard and very in texture. But if it is a creeping, then it is very soft in texture. Roots of Adiantum. Now, just like other type of ferns, the roots of Adiantum is also advantageous. Here we see that the roots, they are borne on the nodal region, and we see that they arise from the lower side of the rhizome, and these roots, they are advantageous, and they are black and very. From here we easily see they are black and very, and from the upper surface of the rhizome we see that the leaves are borne. The leaf of any fern, they are called frond, and in Adiantum they are arranged closely in a clump, and just like other type of fern, like for example lygodium, which has got dimorphic leaves, that is a sterile leaf and a fertile leaf, they have two different morphologies. Adiantum does not have any such morphological difference in leaf. All the leaves of Adiantum, they are they have the same morphology, similar looking, same type, and all the leaves of Adiantum, they are megaphylous, which means that there is a central midrib in the leaf, and that midrib, central midrib, it bifurcates and divides, and they form a reticulate type of venation. So this type of leaves, which has got a reticulate type of venation and is much larger in size naturally, are called megaphylous, as is very common in all the ferns. So the leaf of Adiantum, it is megaphylous, but the frond size, it depend upon species, and the frond is pinnately compound. How many times it divides, that is uni or bi or more than twice pinnate, it depend upon the species. This is an example. This is Capillus veneris, where we see that the main pinna, it is divided several times, and these branches, that is branch pinna, branch rachis, they bear pinna. So this type of arrangement, it is found in Capillus veneris, but other type of arrangement also found. And you note that the pinnules, these are the pinnules, and they have a petiole, that is they are stalked. But in some species of Adiantum, this type of stalk is also absent. So each of these leaflet, they are called pinna, that is each of these leaflets are called pinna, and very terminal leaflets are called pinnules, and they are borne alternatively on rachis. Here we see that the alternative type of this is borne here. We see that they have a alternative type of branching and phyllotaxy. So they are borne alternatively on the rachis with or without petiole. This is a Adiantum capillus veneris which has got petiole, and on the other hand, this species of Adiantum, it does not have any. Notice that it does not have any petiole. So it can have or cannot have petiole depending upon species, and the rachis, this rachis as well as this petiole, this region, these region, they are covered with either palia, which is found on the rhizome also, or ramenta, that is another type of hair, multicellular non-glandular hair, and this entire surface is covered either with ramenta or palia, which is a scale in the rachis or the petiole. So each of these rachis, they terminate in a pinna or a vegetative bud, or sometime here we see that the rachis terminate in a petiole. Sometime it does terminate in a vegetative bud, and this vegetative bud, when it this portion of the leaf, when it arches and reaches the ground, when this terminal portion of the pinna which contain vegetative bud, that reaches the ground, then a new plant is formed from the vegetative bud. And this type of propagation is called, due to this type of propagation, it is called it has got a walking habit, and that is why it is also called a walking fern. So the rachis, they terminate into one pinna or vegetative bud, and each of these petioles, they have a different shape. That is, it can be oblong to fan shaped. Here we see that the petiole, each of these petiole, they are fan shaped. They are fan shaped. Or they can be sometime oblong also. Here we see the shape is almost oblong shaped, and usually its color here, it appears pale, but when the plant, as it matures, the color usually changes to darker green, and the pinna, surface of the pinna can be hairless, that is surface of the pinna, that is a small leaflets, they can be either hairless or they can contain ramenta. And about the margin, here we see that the margin is very much dentate. It can also be, here also we see that the margin of the leaf is dentate. Here also margin of the leaf is dentate. But sometimes some species can also contain a very smooth type of margin. But whether the margin is smooth or dentate, the lower surface of the leaf will contain sporangia. So the lower surface, here we see that the lower surface of this is the lower surface or the abaxial surface, the ventral surface. So the ventral surface has got this linear type of sori, and here we see that the margin, they have rolled inward. This is the backward side of leaves we are seeing, and the front leaf, actually if this is the leaf, it will roll inward and it will contain sori here. This inrolling of the laminar frap, it is for creating a false indusia like structure, so that all the sporangia is protected. So this is the sporogenous region, the marginal region of Adiantum leaf. It is sporogenous. It contains the spores inside the sporangia. The spores are contained inside the sporangia, and the sporangia are aggregated into sori. So each of the each of the leaf can contain 1 to 20 sori depending upon the species. Here in this leaf we see many sori are present, but usually it varies from 4 to 5 in majority of the species. And about the venation of the leaf, here we see that they have a reticulate type of venation, where each of the rib, they divide dichotomies. Here we see, if we look at here, we see that this is one dichotomy here. Then again there is dichotomy. So this type of repeatedly it is dichotomous, and due to the repeated dichotomy it appears like a fan like fashion. So this is the reticulate venation. And the rachis, or here we see that this is the petiole and this is the rachis. All these are covered by either ramenta type of hair or palia type of scales. But however, some species can lose their ramenta or palia at maturity. Here this is the capillus veneris, and we see that the rhizome, the petiole as well as the the rachis, and the petiole both are black colored. But depending upon species, the rachis and petiole can also be brown. About the internal structure. Internally, we will discuss the transverse section of rhizome, petiole, the leaf, transverse section, as well as that of root. Now first we deal with rhizome, where we see in transverse section it is circular in transverse section, and the outermost layer, it is the epidermis, which has got a thick layer of cuticle. So this epidermal region, this is the epidermal region with single layer of cells with cuticle. Next to the epidermis we see that not here clearly drawn, but if this is the epidermis, yellow color is the yellow color here in this region. If the red one is the epidermis, the next region is the cortex. And this cortex, it is depending upon the species, it can have a 3-layered hypodermal region of sclerenchyma, or the sclerenchymatous tissue can be scattered in particular places in the cortex. So it can have a continuous layer or a very scattered sclerenchyma. This sclerenchymatous region of the cortex is mainly to support, is for mechanical strength. So from the outer surface, the epidermis followed by cortex, then we have this ground tissue which contain the this is the ground tissue, this region, and it contains, these are the stellar region. So this ground tissue, this region, it is made up of parenchyma. And the stele we see here, this is a dictyostele, but when the rhizome is very young, then it is having amphiploic siphonostele. But as the number of leaves increases, so that there is increasing number of leaf gaps. So due to this increasing number of leaf gaps, the amphiploic siphonostele is converted to either a solenostele or dictyostele, as the rhizome matures. So, in case of solenostele or siphonostele, so we see that there is central xylem that is surrounded by phloem, and which in turn is surrounded by pericycle and endodermis. So, xylem is the protoxylem is exarch in condition. So this is about the transverse section of the rhizome. Now we come to the petiolate transverse section. Now petiolate, it is almost circular, and the main feature is that it has got a adaxial groove. The upper surface has got a groove. This one is the adaxial groove region, and we see that it has got a single layered epidermis, which has got a cuticle, and next to the epidermis is the sclerenchymatous hypodermis. So this is the sclerenchymatous hypodermis. The upper region, that is a green region, is the epidermis. Next is the sclerenchymatous hypodermis, and next to the sclerenchymatous hypodermis is this region. This is the ground tissue. This is also the ground tissue region. This is the ground tissue region. So this ground tissue region contains the stellar part, and the stele, it looks like a horseshoe shape. Here we see that this is the stellar portion. This one, the pink color, it is the xylem, and this brownish color outer region is the phloem. So we see that the xylem is present in the inner region, and the phloem is present in the outer region of the horseshoe shaped stellar vascular bundle. So this is about the transverse section of the rachis or petiole. This number of xylem vascular strand, it is shown, it is 1, but sometime it can have 2 vascular bundle. But as we reach the higher up the petiole, this 2 or 3 vascular bundle, they unite to form a single vascular bundle. Leaf or lamina. So in transverse section, we see that the leaf has got 2 epidermal layer, upper and the lower epidermal, all of which is chlorophyllous, and this in between the lower and the upper epidermis, there is a mesophyll which is undifferentiated. It is not differentiated into palisade and spongy parenchyma, but it contains large number of ear space. Here we see, this is actually the diagram where we see that this is the lower epidermis, and this one is the upper epidermis, and in between we see that the mesophyll cells, they are undifferentiated and lacunated. That is, we see ear spaces also. These are the ear space. So this epidermal region, they contain stomata. In fact, they contain so many number of stomata that this leaf is considered a mesophytic leaf. Mesophytes are actually plants that are they have a very narrow range, that is, they cannot tolerate a high temperature and high drought like condition. So they are growing well in moist as well as shady condition. So this is because of the fact that their leaves contain so many number of stomata that during high temperature, what happens, it as it transpires so rapidly so as to cool the temperature of the plant body, and by this process it also loses a lot of water. So, after having this rapid transpiration, the wilting threshold, permanent wilting threshold, is reached very easily, and so the leaves they uh, turn deciduous, they fall, and only the rhizome, that is the lower portion, they remain dormant during the dry and hot climate. So, on return of cool and moist climate, we see that there is a sudden spurt in the leafing of Adiantum. So, about the upper and lower epidermis, middle layer is the mesophyll, but the epidermis, it is usually chlorophyllous, but when the we see the upper epidermis in the vascular region, they are bit thick walled. They turn sclerenchymatous, not cholenchymatous. And about the vascular bundle, we see both xylem and phloem, and xylem on the upper side and phloem on the lower side, that is facing the lower epidermis in the leaf. The root. Root is also having an outer epidermis, middle cortex, and the cortex and the central ground tissue. They contain a vascular bundle. Now, about the epidermis, it is single layered and it contains many unicellular root here. And the cortex, which is the next layer to the epidermis, has got a parenchymatous wide region and a sclerenchymatous region. So, if this is the epidermal region, the outer cortex, which is parenchymatous, is very thick region, and the sclerenchymatous region, say for green, this is the very few layer of sclerenchyma here. Then we see that the vascular bundle. Now the vascular bundle has got this vascular bundle here. We see in the root they have a central xylem, this one, and this green colored, these are the on both side are the phloem. So both the xylem, phloem, entire thing, it is again bordered by the pericycle and endodermis. And the xylem, that is in the central region, this region, xylem, has got a diarch condition. So this is the transverse section of root. Now about fossil record, we see that not much, as Adiantum is a very recent genera, not much of the Adiantum fossil has been found, but this picture, it is the picture of fossil Adiantum that is found in the Alps region of France, and you see this it has got a fan shaped leaf structure, this one, with a denticulate margin, you see, and if you zoom out in this picture, you can see that it has got a very fan shaped reticulate venation, and this it looks quite similar to this picture. Now this is the leaf of this Adiantum reniforme. Here we see that this fan shaped leaf of Adiantum reniforme with the sporangia, all the sporangia in a row along the margin of the leaf. We see that these are the sporangial, these are the sporoferous region, and each region here we see that these are the sporangia. They are found in a line along the leaf, and we see that these two leaves are very much similar. So this Adiantum fossil, it is very close to that of the living fossil Adiantum reniforme. Actually, Adiantum reniforme is considered a living fossil because we see many
About
isolated
the economic
importance
varieties
we all
of this
know
species
that just
throughout
because it
the
is a
world.
fern,
But
so it is
those
used as an ornamental
species,
in
sub
shade
varieties,
garden,
they
in
are
gardens
very
where
much
there is little amount of space.
dispersed distribution.
So it is horticultural importance is immense. Apart from that, it is used by the natives as in basketry, that is to make baskets, and also traditionally it has been used as a medicine by many tribal population. This is because of the fact that both leaves and the rhizome of this Adiantum, they had got a wide variety of secondary metabolites. For example, the terpenoids, phytosterols, flavonoids, saponin, all these are the secondary metabolites that are present in the leaf and the stem of the plant. And whether it is an ethanolic extract or aqueous extract, this property is retained. About the ecological importance. Now, as because the leaves they contain so many secondary metabolites, they are not widely fed upon by a wide variety of animals. Don't feed on these leaves, because one of the reason is the secondary metabolites that I mentioned in the last slide. But also there is that most of the ferns, not only Adiantum, most of the ferns they have a enthiaminase enzyme that usually causes the breakdown of vitamin B complex in the body of the insects, also us. So that is why they are actually not much fed by a wide variety of insects or herbivores, and they are also less palatable also, and some of the secondary metabolites are also toxic. So the ecologically they are not that much of significant, because they are very slow grower, so they are not at all invasive. Also, they are not of importance so far the herbivores are considered. But only a few insects, like for example mealybug and scalebug, they eat their leaves, and the rhizome, it is eaten by the slugs, snails, and few caterpillars. So ecological significance is not that much, and also it is not a very good it is not a very noxious weed. So also it requires a very specific condition, because if the moisture is very high, then there will be a fungal infection also. But some species of Adiantum, they are ruderal, that is, they colonize disturbed area, and they are found to be growing in very shallow soil or even rock. So presence of Adiantum viridimontanum, it is a ecological indicator for a disturbed habitat. So this was all about the overview of Adiantum, and in the next video I will be discussing about the reproduction and life cycle of Adiantum. So in any case, you want me to make any new video about any topic, do write it in the comment section. Also, how you like this video, write it in the comment section. And if you are new to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel, and those who have subscribed, thank you for subscription. If you like this video, please do share it with your friends, so that this video gets maximum views. And also thank you for watching this video till the end.